6 out of 10 teens are worried about climate change. The Earth's climate is changing, and with that, so are our attitudes. As a society, we've become more aware of implications of our actions around the globe, and the harm we may have unknowingly caused. But with this knowledge, we've unlocked a potential for change. As the future generation, a team of us young Camden residents came together to find out how we can help heal the planet. We consulted with architects, rubbish collectors, sustainability researchers, and more to unveil the significance of our actions on the environment. Change starts with us. What is the most important thing you care about in relation to the environment?
I would say the most important thing I care about is the extinction of animals and plants, as I believe that's what really shapes our world.
Everyone having access or being able to live in a place that doesn't make us ill.
I suppose it's increasing species numbers, increasing habitats.
So for me, it's about a passion to sort of protect nature that drives me.
It's about really ensuring that we, as communities, as members of the city or residents or designers, really come together to work collectively to make a change.
We went to Hampstead Heath to interview Molly from Heath Hands, who are a conservation charity.
What are the aims of Heath Hands and how do you achieve them?
So Heath Hands is a conservation and community charity based on Hampstead Heath. Our aims are to enhance biodiversity on the heath and to involve as many people as possible in being outdoors and getting involved in caring for this wonderful space.
How much of a difference have you made?
We've made a huge difference actually. So Heath Hands has been going for 25 years, and over that time we've recruited, hundreds of people have been involved over that period. So on a sort of human level, people have been involved in getting outdoors, practically making a difference to their local green space, improving their mental health. So that's sort of one aspect where we've made a difference. But also there's the environmental impact that we've had. So this space, for example, is a really nice space to be now to illustrate that point. This is an area we call the Sparrow Site. It's a wildflower meadow that's been seeded in the last 20 years ago, more or less, and that's just promoted a huge amount of biodiversity in this area. So this is Savernake Road Bridge. This is one of the entrances to the heath, so it's a real thoroughfare, getting people coming through all the time. It used to be a real just sort of a wasteland. There wasn't anything here. All these plants you see here, there was nothing really, and it was covered in graffiti. So somewhere that just was essentially a dog toilet. It wasn't very nice. So over the last few years, Heath Hands and our many volunteers have been involved in planting this up with a real variety of plants actually. There's lots of shrubs, there's lots of perennials which are very low maintenance, stuff that doesn't require too much attention.
Architect and urban designer Stephanie came to the community centre to talk to us about her company called Urban Symbiotics. Her work focuses on how spaces shape people's emotions and how communities help design the places they live in. Hi.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good, how are you? So my name is Stephanie Edwards and I'm an architect and urban designer and one of the co-founders of Urban Symbiotics.
How did you come to set up Urban Symbiotic and what is it?
We came together to form Urban Symbiotics because we really wanted to ensure that people were at the forefront of design, but we actually wanted to flip it on its head and say, well, actually, let's work with the community, with general members of the public to help them shape their neighbourhood. So whether that's their high streets or a new neighbourhood. We might go on a walk around later on today and you'll say, gosh, wow, this space makes me feel really happy, or this reminds me of, or I'm not sure, but I don't feel so comfortable here. And so we really tease an understanding of what that means for different people and at different times and places, and then help to shape that in a positive way. So we really essentially try and find out how people feel and then try and help them create places within which they aspire to be in. Actually, one of the key drivers that got me into studying and practicing architecture was that understanding that spaces can really shape the way that you feel. It can shape the way that you have a sense of belonging. It can shape your ideas about fear. But it can also really channel the way you move through a city or environment. And as designers of spaces, it's really important that we take that seriously. And we know that just looking at green areas changes your, biochemistry and your mental health.
What do you want our world to look like in the future? In the future, I want to see a world where the government is more responsible about the current climate situation. I feel like the common ordinary person has a lot of weight on their shoulders with doing simple things like using plastic straws, when in reality the government has been sending a lot of their rubbish to third world countries, and big oil corporations have been doing a lot more of a negative impact on the environment than we have.
I'd like it to be one that is fairer, that you don't have like that kind of massive inequality, one in which we consume less, and one in which we like take care of each other and realise that we are connected to all other human beings and all other living things.
I think the way I'd like to see the world is actually more in harmony with each other, and that we are more humane.
Yeah, more peaceful and greener.
Well, I think a world that is just more where we're living more in balance with our local environment.
We spoke to Rachel and Michael from Veolia Camden, who deliver street cleansing, recycling and rubbish collection services, working towards ecological transformation.
Good afternoon. Could you please introduce yourself and your role and explain a little bit about what Veolia does in Camden?
My name is Rachel. I'm the Area Education, Communications and Outreach Manager. We normally call ourselves eco-managers for short. And what we do in the borough is we deliver community engagement and behaviour change projects to help people understand how they can reduce waste and recycle more, and really just generally providing that education service for the Camden contract. We educate people about how they can reduce their waste, recycle more, and really sort of lessen their impact on the environment through those initiatives.
So Michael, I have a little question for you. Where's our rubbish go once it's collected?
So the rubbish in Camden is collected by Veolia, and then we send it to the Edmonton Eco Park, which is run by the North London Waste Authority. This makes less rubbish go to landfill, and then our recycling is sent to a materials recycling facility where it's divided into different materials and sent to reprocessors who make it into something new.
We went to the British Library to speak to Inira, who is studying for an MSc in Sustainability and Behaviour Change. Inira is also co-founder of Trust the People, which supports communities in the face of local and global crises.
So the first question I'm going to ask you is to just introduce yourself a little bit.
Great, okay, so hi, my name's Nai, and I am an educator and writer, and I also work a lot in looking at climate change and democracy. We've known about the climate crisis for quite a long time. Some people have known about it for decades, and despite that, there hasn't been very much action in response to climate change. So we've got a lot of solutions, we have a lot of renewable energy, we know things that we need to do, but there's a big gap between that knowledge and taking that action.
Do you believe that we can make a positive change to the current environmental situation now and in the future?
Oh, loads. There's so much we can do. 10 years ago, no one spoke about veganism. Now loads of people talk about it. Now you can get vegan food in restaurants. That's a big shift that happens from people pushing for change.
Could you tell us more about climate activism and what you believe it can achieve?
I view activism as also going and talking to people in the street and saying hi to a stranger, suggesting to local councils what can be done to try and help make our cities better for like heat situations.
What is one thing we can all do to help the environment?
I think improving your diet is a pretty big key, because people are cutting down forests for farms to grow livestock such as cattle. So I think cutting down meat such as beef will really help.
I think a really easy thing we can do is just like think about what we consume and how we can change our consumption patterns.
Making space for wildlife in your local area, whether that's in your garden, your balcony, in a community space, planting up flowers that are beneficial for pollinating insects.
Reuse items before you throw them away, things like repairing electricals and clothing, reusing bottles again and again before you recycle them.
We set out to research the environmental issues affecting all of us in fear that we were too far gone. However, we are not. Becoming filmmakers has enlightened us on the range of actions and choices we can take to be better. With a newfound sense of optimism, we felt uplifted, able to remain resilient in a society where the future once felt bleak. Although 6 out of 10 teens are worried about climate change, 8 out of 10 teens care to change its course. We still have time to change our world.